Hi, I'm Cindy Hathaway with Fons and Porter, and today's So Easy lesson is on paper foundation piecing. It's a way to make your piecing extremely accurate. All your points will come out as points. In our magazine, if there's a paper piecing project, you will find the templates in the magazine that you can take to your local copier and have copied onto special paper that's used for paper foundation piecing. Here is the whole project that was one of the projects that we had in our magazine, and here's the one of the finished units. You're going to start with a piece that has numbers on it, and you want to follow your numbers. So the first piece is 1, 2, 3, and so on. That's how you add your pieces in order. We give dimensions for the pieces and how they should be cut for piece 1, piece 2, and so on. And I really like that. It helps to know ahead of time the size that you're going to need. The first thing that you're going to do is turn this over, and you're going to cover number 1. So we turn it over, and my first color that I'm going to use is brown. And I want to cover this whole area, which is really hard to see on the back side, probably for you as viewers. When you're doing it in person, it's much easier to see. So I put a little glue down to hold my piece so I don't have to chase it all over the place. And then we're going to turn the piece back over now that we have that glued. And we're going to fold on the line between 1 and 2. And that will allow me to cut my 1/4 inch that I want for a seam allowance. And you don't have to, it takes some of the guesswork out of where to place number 2. So we're going to go ahead and cut that 1/4 inch off. And then we're going to get ready to put piece number 2 with piece number 1. So we've got right sides up for the first piece. The second piece we're going to place right sides together with piece number 1, and we're going to line it up on the line that we just cut. And you want to audition these to make sure that the second piece is lined up correctly to cover the area that you want covered. We will shorten our stitch length to between 1.6, 1.8. It just helps to have smaller stitches so that when you go to tear this paper off later, you're not tearing your stitches out. You've done all that work, you don't want to tear them out. So now we're going to stitch right on this line. You're going to start a little bit on the outside, and you're going to finish a little bit beyond the seam. And that's in case when you're tearing the paper off or you're putting the next piece on, occasionally a stitch or two will come loose, and that way you've allowed the extra for that. So we're going to take it over here. We've got them together. And we're going to stitch right on that line. And again, I've switched my stitch length. I'm going to sew right on that line. And then I'm going to stop. And as you can see, I'm a couple stitches beyond the edge of this point, and I started a couple stitches out in the seam allowance. And the reason that I do that, you will see shortly. I'm going to finger press this. A lot of times I like to take it to the iron and give it a little press, just so I know that it's going to lie nice and flat. But there's really no need to. You can finger press and have great success. So now we're going to turn it back over, and we're going to fold. We're going to put the next piece on, which was piece number 3, and we're going to fold on the line between unit 1 and unit 3, because that will be our new stitch line. And this is where you may tear a stitch out when you're folding this back. And again, we're going to cut off for a 1/4 inch seam. And you'll see, even though we had originally cut part of number 1 off, we have more to cut off this time. Place your ruler on the paper at the 1/4 inch put your klutz glove on so you don't cut your fingers off. And go ahead and zip that off. Now we are ready for piece number 3. And again, right sides together. We're going to cover this unit, audition it, and we'll stitch this on. We're going to do a couple of this piece and one more, and to give you the idea, and you'll see how nicely your points come out. So, again, start a little bit, a couple stitches from your the line. And this is not a real speedy process. It takes some time. So now we're going to, I like to trim my threads as I go, just so they're not hanging out everywhere. And we're going to finger press this. And as you can see, we're started on our way to a really nice point. So the next piece that we're going to put on is piece number 4. And that will be another colored piece. So we're going to fold down on that line. And once again, cut off our 1/4 inch. So you can see that this is a little bit time consuming. And cut that off. You have a nice straight line to work with. And our next color is the green in this example. So we're going to line up the green and make sure it's going to cover everything. Go all the way up to the top of the point, which it does. And we're going to stitch that down as well. And you're always stitching on the paper side. Let me put this back over where they can see it better. We're always stitching on the paper side here on your lines. And that's part of, that's the reason that you can be so accurate with it, because you are stitching on those lines. And cut that off. And you'll see how nicely this looks. Let's get rid of these little threads as we go. And by finger pressing, you can see that we have a perfect point on this triangle. And you would just continue that whole process until you got your whole unit done. And of course you're going to have extra pieces on the outside, and so you would turn over your paper, and you would trim on the solid line. Do not trim on the dotted line. I have done that before, and then you get to start all over. That is your seam allowance. So please be careful and check it twice, cut once. You'll be much happier. I hope that you have enjoyed this So Easy lesson today, and please check fonsandporter.com to find other So Easy lessons that will help you with your quilting. Thanks for joining me, and have a great day.